You might notice that the frequency of review videos are going up on this channel, and less so on the typical content that I make. That explains why I'm bleeding subscribers these days, but I think you guys deserve a little bit of explanation in why my channel is, well, dying. Before we get started, YouTube will screw me over with potential demonetization, so if you'd like to support my work, you can do so by checking the links down below. Also, huge thanks to GamCentral14 and Aqua for the pledges. You guys are fantastic. It's no secret that I really love doing YouTube. YouTube is pretty much my hobby besides gaming and sleeping all day. And it's not just making videos necessarily. I also regularly watch YouTube in the same manner that I regularly watched TV back in the day. Except unlike TV, I can just roll back to whatever programs that I want to watch in whatever channels that I like, and not have to wait for a rerun of Naruto to watch the episode that I miss. But there's gotta be a point in which the topic that I talk about on YouTube become tiresome, repetitive, and something that just aren't worth talking about. One of the weaknesses in my YouTube channel is that I feel like when I want to talk about a particular topic, I think talking about the topic once is enough to fill in my overall point. But this is clearly putting me at a disadvantage, because what YouTube really likes is if you constantly talk about the same topic over and over again, even if it's only just a minor update. For example, I won't give any names, but I'm pretty sure you're all familiar by them at this point. There are tons of YouTube channels out there that spend a relentless amount of time talking about Brie Larson around 2018. Do you know how many videos I've made on Brie Larson? 2. One was in September 2018 and one was in February 2019. I suppose the Captain Marvel review kind of counts, but that's more talking about the film. And even out of those 2 videos, one of which is an instance where I actually defended her in a sphere where every YouTube drama channel does nothing but to criticize her in every little detail. This is clearly a disadvantage for my channel. I think making a video once or twice or at least less than 5 is enough. But if you want to grow on YouTube, you have to consistently make content. And by consistent, I mean 1 content per day consistent. And I don't think a lot of people have the time or strength or even the topic necessary to make that sort of content, let alone making them 10 minutes long. I mean, you technically can. You can make videos per day in whatever topics you want to talk about, but can you make it interesting? Can you make it engaging? Can the viewers be fed information that are actually new to them and not the same thing that you've been regurgitating in all videos? Now, yes, I can get repetitive a lot of times in my videos, but trust me when I say that it's very difficult for a YouTuber to not be repetitive. It's very difficult for a YouTuber to be original. It's very difficult for a YouTuber to be engaging and provide the viewers with something fresh and new, something that the YouTuber hasn't talked about. I can choose to be repetitive and follow YouTube's demands, but I too also find exhaustion in that repetition, and I think a lot of you guys will too. My kind of workflow is just not suitable to what YouTube is demanding these days. YouTube wants me to keep on making videos, and I'm pretty sure you all want me to do so. But the problem is, I've said a lot of the things that I wanted to say. I'm exhausted in what kind of topic I want to talk about that aren't something that I've previously talked before. But YouTube wants me to talk about them again. YouTube tells me that if I don't talk about whatever current trending topic that's happening in this week, my channel would get punished and I'd be dying. The problem is, I've said my piece and I don't think I need to say them again, because doing so would be redundant and it'd be a boring content to make. I've said what I need to say about Blizzard, for example. Ever since my last video on the topic, BlizzCon happened. Tons of fans are trolling that event with their support for Hong Kong, and Blizzard made a really bad apology to the entire event. I didn't make another video on that one because 1, BlizzCon is primarily about the games, and I don't care about any of their games because they're multiplayer esports titles. The only thing I care about from them is their adult content made by fans for me to furiously shake my chocolate energy bar on. And 2, they made the same mistakes that I talk about in my last video. No changes whatsoever. Nothing to make me say, wow, Blizzard has finally changed my mind. Because I've said my opinion on Blizzard, and because they haven't changed one bit ever since my last video, you didn't see a video from me. Well, this video technically counts, but that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to say is that I'm trying not to be repetitive, but YouTube wants me to be repetitive. YouTube wants me to talk about the same topic over and over again just to get that click and ad revenue. And I got exhausted by that. I don't want to do these things again. I've said my piece and that's enough. I don't want to force myself to do this content because if I get exhausted by that topic, so will you. I think that kind of mentality is common sense, or should be common sense, but YouTube's demands on me and my workflow and any other people's workflow is ridiculous. And we're not even talking about how they screw me over every single time by demonetizing my videos early on before remonetizing them again because, oops, turns out your video is advertiser friendly. Let's turn the ads back after you get all the early views. It's to the point where I actually encourage people to not do YouTube at all, or at least if you want to do it to make profit or gain clout from it. If you want to do it because you like doing it, because you like making these videos, that's fine, but don't do it to make money. I've actually had friends and family members who know that I have a YouTube channel and make money off of it, and they ask me how to gain that monetization status and earn money from it. The problem is, the requirements for getting your channel approved for monetization is getting stricter and stricter to the point where you're not allowed to freely express yourself by cursing or whatever, because you will get demonetized or have your channel banned entirely. And even if you get your channel approved for monetization, you really have to dedicate your life for that channel, because otherwise you won't get any growth. You have to consistently make videos on a per day basis, finding things to talk about in your videos on a per day basis. It's exhausting, especially when you have to edit them and make them presentable, etc. This kind of workflow might have worked out for me back in 2016 or 2017 when I was not only more aggressive but also dumber and cringier as well, but it doesn't work for me in current year because, God forbid, I have some standards for my videos. I want my viewers to be at the very least entertained and informed with whatever topics that I want to talk about, but I can't do it consistently because the topics are getting boring and I'm competing against channels that chug videos daily about these boring topics. Channels with videos that are a lot easier to make than mine. I don't want my friends and family members to get encouraged by my YouTube's growth. I am frankly quite lucky for being in the state that I am right now. The funny thing is, the videos that I do back in the day, I do a lot of them because I want to say what I need to say regarding a lot of the dumb things I see in the news or in social media or whatever. Back then, I was pretty naive and got triggered very easily, which is why my creative desires on making cringy videos exist. Now that fire just sort of gone because I've gotten less sensitive. I realized that a lot of social media hooplas are just that. Hooplas. I actually find more joy talking about these hooplas in my streams, which has a respectable number of viewers, and thank you all for watching and donating to the stream. But as I do those streams, I realize that the things that I talk about in my videos in the past are probably just these dumb social media hooplas. Hooplas that no one should really care about. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to dunk on these really dumb takes. It's really fun to do the stream and talk smack at these people for 2 to 3 hours, but that's about 2 to 3 hours I've spent on these people out of 24 hours that I have on that day, where I can spend my time to do more productive things like finishing my thesis and building the program that I need to finish my thesis. Nah, just be playing video games. If I spend any more time on these dumb takes, if I do my streams every day, for example, I can get exhausted. I can go nuts. It's not good for my mental health. Social media in general is not good for my mental health, but at least I have the capacity to filter out the bad with petty inspirational quotes, funny memes, and the usual anime tatas. At least I can figure out a way for me to unwind and have fun. At least I know how to keep my sanity in check. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people have that ability. I don't think a lot of people are able to relieve their stress and unwind for just a couple of hours. That, or they do have the ability, they just chose to be jaded and cynical instead. What people tend to forget when they got involved in hooplas is that a lot of them are bad news. A lot of the news that you're seeing being parroted by YouTubers like me, they tend to lean on the criticism of those bad news because people feed on negativity. Negativity is what brings people in. I can certainly see the appeal in being cynical and negative, but even you have to realize that you can't always handle that negativity all the time. You have to get it out somehow. Unfortunately, we're in a point where people chose not to do that, even though they can do it. They become cynical, jaded, depressed, and get easily outraged over little things. They got so cynical that they basically went nuts. A lot of people that I follow on social media are suffering from these things that I'm describing right now. And no, I'm not saying that people chose to be depressed. That's horrible for me to say that. I'm saying that people have the opportunity to stay away away from the crazy. Stay away from the things that will bring their sanity down. And yet they got addicted by that crazy to the point where they become crazy themselves. I don't want that to happen. I've seen this happen many times. Nothing wrong with dunking on the crazies, but you do it too much and you will become the crazy. He who fight monsters, etc., etc. You can't control depression, obviously, but you can control yourself to not deal with the crazies so that you don't become crazy yourself. Just spend 2 to 3 hours like I did and move on with your life. You have better things to do. You have games to finish in your library that you probably haven't touched in years. And that brings me to another point in why my channel is dying. A lot of the news channels that I subscribe to are incredibly negative and delves on criticisms quite a lot. It's to the point where they're going to criticize even the smallest of things or the smallest of updates. Now, I'm not gonna harp on them for doing that. I do that too. It's just that I feel like they're doing them in an unhealthy frequency, and that's thanks to YouTube's demands for content creators to have more consistent uploads and social media feeding on that negativity all the time. All I'm saying is, I don't want to fester the culture of outrage that they're festering to their audiences. Nothing wrong with being outraged when those things are actually egregious and horrible, but even if they're egregious and horrible, it's not good spending too much of your time getting outraged by them. You have other better things to do, things that would actually be more productive. Now, I do subscribe to these channels, but I also subscribe to tech channels, for example. In fact, I watch a lot more tech YouTube videos than I do these news channels because tech is something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I love to do. It's something that doesn't put me in despair. Even playing your favorite video games or watching your favorite films or animes are productive. They're productive for your mental health and your sanity, which unfortunately, as evidenced by so many people that I see on social media, as evidenced by the dumb takes that I read weekly on streams, there are people who are absolutely willing to sacrifice their mental health and sanity for the sake of getting outraged, getting all that clicks, or fighting against the corrupt establishment. And I don't want that to happen to you. If I have to sacrifice my clout for the sake of my mental health, I'd sacrifice my clout. I'd rather bleed subscribers than going insane. Again, nothing wrong with being outraged when there are things to get legitimately outraged at. It's just that a lot of people, including you, my viewers, need to realize that constantly consuming these kinds of content that I or other people make is not good for you. Caring way too much about the things that I talk about or the things that other news channels talk about is not good for you. You need to be able to control that consumption. You have to be able to put it in moderation. I do that by playing video games or watching tech channels, dunking on these bad takes on stream for just a couple of hours, doing things that I love and actually make me happy. Ask yourself, what do you love to do? What's the thing that makes you happy? Do those things. Otherwise, you'll get nuts. Your mental health is very important. Don't sacrifice that for the sake of clout. Don't sacrifice that sanity you have for the sake of going against the establishment. Throughout the 21 years of me living in this world, I learned a lot of things. But out of all of those things, I learned one very simple philosophy that I think you all should follow. The world is screwed. Everyone is stupid. No matter what you do, you can't fix it. That's a very nihilistic philosophy, but that's just the truth. So let me tell you another thing that's true that is a lot more optimistic. You might not be able to change the world, but you are able to change yourself. You are able to improve what you are, who you are, and how you are doing. You are able to work out to improve your body or play video games to chill out, have fun, and maintain that sanity that you have. You don't have the power to make the world better, but you have the power to make you better. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to be better. I want to improve my sanity and try to build up a good foundation of my mental health. I do that by doing the things that I love. And while I love making videos, I don't love making them constantly on the topics that I've talked about before. This video isn't a way for me to dunk on these commentary channels or news channels or whatever, because I'm guilty on this too, which is why this video serves as a way for me to self-reflect, a way for me to criticize my workflow, my methods, why they don't work, and what would I do to fix them, a way for me to examine what I have done throughout these times and the kinds of audiences that I am attracting or not attracting. So to sum sum up, it's not anyone else's fault that my channel is dying. It's my fault. It's my fault for not being able to comply to YouTube's demands of constantly producing content. And no, I'm not blaming YouTube for that. I mean, I can keep on making videos on the same topic over and over again, but I don't want to, because doing that is exhausting and it would make me go nuts. God forbid that the social media hooplas that I'm seeing on social media are just dumb social media hooplas. It's entirely my fault because I don't want to get crazy for making these videos every day, dealing with the same topics every day. So what am I going to do to fix this bleeding subscriber case? Nothing really. No, seriously, I'm just gonna do the same thing that I've been doing for this channel. I'm gonna keep making videos because I like making videos. It's just that I don't like making videos in a frequency that YouTube wants me to be. That's because I don't care about clout. All I care about is sharing my opinions on the internet and be honest about them as possible. If I care about clout, if my goal is to gain as many subscribers as possible, of course I should change my workflow. Of course I should adapt into YouTube's demands, but I don't. Because doing so is not good for me. It's not good for anyone, frankly. I'm not saying that I'll stop making videos. I am saying that I'll probably make less of them, or at least the videos that I typically make. You might notice the uncap or recap videos that I've been making, and if you watch them, thank you so much. They take a lot more effort to make, but they're very fun to make, and they're the only types of videos that got monetized early on. And if you want to support me without too much effort, you can just watch them too. I'm still going to do streams and dunk on the bad takes on Twitter because they're very relaxing for me and a good time for me to have fun with my viewers and unwind for just 3 hours every week. It's just that I won't be making the kinds of videos I usually make as much as I do last time. Why? Because I've changed, and I think it's for the better. If I make a video on a specific topic, it means that I want you to care about this topic. It means that I want you to listen to my thoughts on this topic, and I do. It's just that if you consume way too much of the types of content that I make, you will become jaded, cynical, and it's not good for you. If that's how you want to live your life, okay, fine, you do you. I'm just saying these things out of concern, because I have seen people who went nuts over this. Even the people who say, nah, I don't care about this doesn't bother me, there will be something that triggers it. I guarantee you. I don't want you to go insane too. I don't want you to have less hope for humanity because, as Steve from Gamers Nexus put it,
I'm frustrated that the human race is doomed.
If Steve the Tech Jesus says that humanity is doomed, humanity is doomed. But humanity in general is not your concern. The world is burning. Everyone is either already nuts or wet nuts. You can't always control them, but you can control you. You can choose to not be like these people. I just want you to smile and have fun.
Making political statements are for other people to do. We want people to smile and have fun when they play our game.